Well, good morning, everybody. Let's do something with all those cars we sorted in the yard. So I don't have an N&W engine, so they're got at least DT&I engine standing in, but I do have an N&W caboose. So this isn't really simulating the N&W interchange exactly like it was. You know, we all have space constraints. So I brought him in this way through Douglas Avenue, which wouldn't have happened. So we're running through the crossover. So what he's going to do is he's going to pick up the 4 cars. Actually, I took the stickers off of them. They're on track 3 in this. He's going to pick up 3 cars, but he's going to drop off 4, I believe. I put the standard elevator back in place for this. I want to see what kind of a view block it would be and how difficult it was to work around. It is no problem. I don't think I'm going to have the overpass there. Just doesn't look right next to standard elevator, and it's going to be enough of a view block there. So I've spent almost 4 hours on the phone with my friend Pete, who knows about JMRI. We actually set up the 4 trains that are going to interchange, but decided to keep it simple and not have destinations for each car. So, and I don't have assigned tracks either. So I'm just going to continue to do what I did before. Usually I'm not going to show the yard switching. I mean, I may show a portion of it, but I'm not going to do whole videos about yard switching probably in the future, unless maybe just to change it up once in a while. But one interesting thing about this whole thing, well, I'm going to have to restage my whole railroad because we ran, excuse me, a bunch of trains on the computer. We just build a train and then terminate it, and build a train and terminate it. So basically, JMRI, they want to fill up yards. If your yard has a capacity of 27 cars, it's going to try to fill it up. It's 27 cars, and it did. So even though right now I have 15 cars in the yard, you know, it's going to. Next time you see it after this weekend, it'll have a lot of cars in the yard that don't necessarily go to an industry right away. They will eventually, but not right away. So we picked up the 3 cars. Now we're going to back them on the caboose, and then we'll put the 4 cars on the track that we pulled them from. Again, that's not an assigned track. Just happened to be the track that I put those cars on. I do have, Atlas has announced an RS11, which I love RS11s. I think they're really unique, the ends of them where they've got the number boards that are recessed. One of my favorite locomotives. And I had a couple of them back in the 80s when Atlas first made them. Well, they are re-releasing it, and I've ordered one, of course, with sound, Norfolk and Western. So I don't know when it'll come in. It'll probably be a couple years. But but I'm looking forward to getting that. All right, so back to JMRI. So basically, we had a lot of problems. He would have me build trains, make adjustments, build trains, make adjustments, and we had a problem where I'd build a train and have 0 cars on it. It would do, like, especially the Oak Hill trains. So the problem with doing this is we set up what we call the placer yard, which has all my cars in it, and the Chillicothe yard. But the Chillicothe yard has a capacity of 27 cars, and the placer yard has all my cars. It's like 130. So before we did this, when JMRI built a train, it would actually pull from my all 130 car, inventory. Well, now we're saying to build the Oak Hill train, build the Douglas Avenue switching train, it can only pull from the 27 cars that are in the Chillicothe yard. And so it really limits the amount of cars you can get. So we had some really small trains, and so we kept playing with it. He was very patient. Can't speak highly enough of him for working this. And finally, it started, building trains, and it looks pretty reasonable now. So I'm going to go ahead and run with it for a while. I've just kept building a bunch of paper trains and deleting them and building them and deleting them. My 4 interchange trains are just trains on the computer. Basically, I'll build it, I'll terminate it, I'll build it, terminate it. But that's what delivers cars to the Chillicothe yard. The N&W interchange, the C&O interchange, and the east and west B&O trains. And then I can try to build my Oak Hill train and my Douglas Avenue train from the cars that are in the yard. So it's working fairly well right now. Okay. So again, I can't really simulate the N&W interchange. They've got a curved track that curved around behind the roundhouse. It's actually still there because as a condition of CSX abandoning the route through Chillicothe, they had to give Norfolk Southern access to the big grain elevator, which I didn't model on Watt Street. So occasionally Norfolk Southern will shove around that curve behind where the roundhouse used to be, and they'll have a unit train going out of there. But most trains still go on CSX. The other N&W interchange with the B&O was down at the paper mill. So I just simulated it like this, and again I just had the DT&I engine available. So he's just going to push back to get back to N&W tracks, and that's why we have a caboose on there. Have to protect the rear end. So next, we're going to run the C&O. We're going to run out to the C&O interchange. So they're not going to come into the Chillicothe yard. The B&O GP7 is actually going to deliver cars to VA Junction. And that's what they do now. That's what they've always done. So we're going to pick up the cars that we loaded for the VA Junction, and we're going to take them past standard elevator, and basically we're going to run into the wall at the staging yard. At this point I took all the stickers off the car, but I did miss one. It was on a gondola and I couldn't see it. It was behind the boxcar, so you'll see me grab it here. So basically, in order to keep things simple, I'm not going to have destinations for each car. So I'm going to run the Oak Hill turn. It's going to leave the Chillicothe yard, go to Oak Hill, come back to the Chillicothe yard, and I will just have to decide how it leaves the Chillicothe yard or whatever train it's going to be on. So because we have a long backup move on the way back to VA Junction, we're going to pick up a caboose. And that's exactly what CSX does now in Chillicothe. They've had the same chassis caboose sitting there for, gosh, it's going on 40 years. It's hard to believe. Getting pretty ratty looking, still in chassis paint. But they just use it as a shuttling platform. And they use it to go out to VA Junction, and then they use it when they go to the switch the paper mill, because there are some long backing moves involved in those, with some grade crossings. So in the video tomorrow, I'm actually going to stage the eastbound and the westbound B&O trains. I'm going to get a bunch of cars out of boxes and make it look like it's a 15-car train or whatever. I will have the interchange cars on the head end, so the train will stop in Chillicothe. It will set out the block of cars for Chillicothe, and will pick up the block of cars that are going to either Cincinnati or Parkersburg. And in one case, I can continue running it through the layout. I can run it through Douglas Avenue and show you that on video, but can't do it the other way. I don't have enough room to run it off the layout. Got a little bit of a couple of hiccups in here, which I edited out, but I had ballasted the track, and some ballast had gotten like in the flange ways, and so I had to, I had a derailment, so I had to stop, clean out the flange ways, but everything is running fine now. I thought about getting a map and actually showing you in real life all these tracks and what they did, rather than just my map I drew last week. But video is already like 17 minutes long, so I decided maybe save that for a future project. Okay. So at this point, when the train disappears, it now becomes a fiddle yard. I'm going to pick the cars up, put them in the boxes, put the new cars on the train, and simulate this. An hour later, here comes the train pushing back into town, back into the yard with the cars they got from the C&O interchange. buildings you see in the background against the backdrop, those are just a couple of things that I used before. I just put them there. They're leaning against the backdrop. So of course we had to return the caboose. Now we're going to put these 4 cars on the track that we just used before. Not a designated track, it's just an empty track, and that's where I'm putting them. Again, when you see this tomorrow, you're going to see the yard look just like this, but next time you see it, it will be full of cars. And we're going to have to be, sorting out the cars we need to actually go to Oak Hill and Chillicothe. We've calculated the capacity of the yard, and so JMRI is filling it up. Now I could, if I wanted to, just ignore those other cars and just take the cars that actually go on the trains and put in the yard. We're going to see how it works the other way, though. We're going to put all those cars in the yard. If it just gets too clogged up, too cumbersome, I might actually start doing that, just holding those cars out. And if I need to, I can go to JMRI and manually put them back in the big yard, the placer yard. All right, so we're just about done. The engine's going to run forward a little bit, and we're going to end the video. Sorry for the little bit longer video. I said tomorrow you're going to see some double-headed trains running and swapping blocks of cars out. So everybody have a great day and stay safe.